Good morning, you sexy bunch of self-storage nerds. Yes, I called you all nerds. Okay, so first of all, I do apologize about the audio for the last couple of days. If I'm honest, I have no idea what was wrong with it. I still don't know what's wrong with it. My microphone, my internal mic, my boom mic here. If you're watching the video, none of it works. There's another mic. Oh dear, Jesus Christ. Oh, no, anyway, none of it works. I've had to put my good old trusty the Apple Bluetooth thingy-majiggies, whatever they're called. Anyway, so I think all tests I've done, these are working. Nothing else works. I don't know why. I go on holiday on Sunday, so hopefully I can just bosh out the podcast. It feels weird when I'm talking to you guys because it's like I'm talking. I don't know. It's like talking with earphones in, so I'm not used to it. Hopefully I can bosh out some episodes and all is gravy. The problem is I recorded so many episodes and all it was for motivated entrepreneurs. So I do a daily podcast about motivation, stuff that I've read that I want to get across to people. But ultimately for my kids, I've done over 800 episodes and I recorded shitloads. And obviously now I've got to re-record them all, which is frustrating to say the least. But this week is cram-packed because it's the end of a quarter. I've got mastermind figures to do for the end of a quarter. And I'm going on holiday Sunday. I've got loads of meetings, loads of things. And I just don't know if I'm going to have time. But anyway, right. So what I'm going to go through today is the quarterly figures for StoreMore. And it's interesting. I say it all the time, it's interesting, but I really mean it's interesting. And the reason it's interesting is because for me, the biggest lesson I've learned here is that I still make too many knee-jerk reactions based on weekly figures, and I'm getting better at that, but monthly figures. And there's nothing wrong with looking into your figures, but you've just got to be aware and careful the fact that you don't scrutinize them too much. We need to take a step back as business owners, and we need to make decisions over the long term, not short term. Short-term decisions, I don't think are ever fruitful. But what you've just got to make yourself aware though as well. I try to make sure I'm aware with weekly and monthly figures, but as you know, I love my reports, and possibly that I read too much into certain reports. But the reason I do this is because like we had a team meeting yesterday, and I want to put myself out of business before anybody else has a chance to. What do I mean by that? I mean that I want to make sure that I look for trends, I look for any possible dangers, threats, and I want to be on them before they become a big issue, a big problem. That's why I scrutinize the figures so much, because if there is a problem, then I don't want to be reactive. I want to be proactive. So I want to make sure that we're making decisions quickly, efficiently, and effectively. And that's why I look at the reports so much. So on one hand, I know I'm saying I shouldn't look at the reports too much because of this and this. And then other way, I'm looking, well, yeah, but I'm having an internal battle with myself. Ultimately, I don't think it served me wrong so far. In Lazo, the restaurant business, when that went kaput, I was all over the place with that business, and I've learned from my errors in my way, and now it's reports, data, talking to the staff, talking to the team, understanding what's going right, what's going wrong, because sometimes you get a feel for the data, but it's only interpreted by the data because we're one step removed. So sometimes it's nice just to talk to the team and say, look, what's working, what's not working, what we're struggling with. Yesterday, it was fantastic talking to the team because there's certain things that I didn't see from afar, but they've got problems with, issues with, and something that we can maybe able to help with, because on the data don't tell you that. And so that's why, yeah, it's important for team meetings and stuff. Anyway, right, back to quarterly figures. So quarter 2, 2022, we took the true period revenue. So I always match it for true period revenue. So true period revenue is basically all the invoiced amounts in that date quarter. And so I've got data going all the way back to 2018, so I can compare like for like, which is terrific for me. Although in 2018 quarter 2 we did have some missing data because we got a virus attack, and it was a nightmare, and we thought it was backed up, we weren't backed up, and it was a horrible 6 months to get through that. And luckily for me, I had Angela who did most of it, all of it. Right. So in 2022, quarter 2, it was true period revenue. We took £218,633.63. And what I love to see two things here. I love to see what was the year before and what was the previous quarter. So the year before, we took 195,450 pound pound 18 pence, which means that we was £23,183 up on the previous quarter. So that means nearly £100,000 a year if we stayed at the same trajectory, which hopefully we won't. Hopefully we'll still improve again. That means that was £23,183 just up in that quarter. Where does that go? It goes to the bottom line because you haven't got any cost associated with that extra revenue in self-storage. That is why self-storage is so fantastic. The older the site gets, the more mature it gets, the more money you will take, the more revenue you get, and ultimately the more profit you will make. Because normally, yes, you've got the incremental increases. So every 5 years, we've got a rent increase, which I've been talking to so many people, and so many people are telling me to buy freehold. I ain't got the money. I ain't got the bloody money. Not like you guys, listen, the people I'm talking to, £10 million is nothing to them. Well, not nothing to them, guys, but it's a lot more to me than it is to them. So yes, they can go out and buy a freehold. It will come, but I've just got to play the game. I've got to play the game, get my leaseholds up. My idea is that I want to be, my EBITDA needs to be £1 million first before, not necessarily first, but that's the aim, to get the EBITDA up to £1 million a year, which I don't think we're too far off. I think that it's like a snowball. It will continuously keep expanding, growing, just pushing it down the hill, just pushing it down the hill. That's all we're doing. In time is pushing it down the hill. Time equals pushing down the hill. So with time, the EBITDA of the company will grow, and I believe within the next year we will hit that trajectory where we're making £83,000 profit per month on EBITDA, and that means that we will get to £1 million a year EBITDA company, and then I can start looking at freeholds. That's the idea. It might be that I do it before then, but that's the idea, and I should be able to do that with maybe an acquisition, or maybe I don't know, open another site. Because don't forget, we've got Boston coming up as well, and we've got StoreMore Clough Road, which is doing outstandingly well. That'll make £250,000 a year. Anyway, so that's the idea. And yes, I do know that we need to get to freehold. And the idea has always been leasehold, freehold, because then obviously you get more multiples for your money, which is a lot better for me, for my family, for the team, for everybody. And I'm not thinking about selling yet, by the way. I've got a long way to go. I'm only 40. And maybe I keep it for my kids as well. I don't know, but then I don't know where I'm going down with. Do you know what? The only ever time that I truly stepped into what I was capable of, when my mum and dad couldn't help me anymore, when after Laza, they'd already lost like 200 grand with a restaurant, and so they had no more money. They couldn't help me anymore, and that is when I became resilient and resourceful. And so without that, if my mum and dad just kept plowing on money into Laza, I would have never learned anything. I wouldn't have learned the lessons I've learned now. I won't be in the situation I've learned now. So I really do believe that you should allow your kids to fail. But would I be able to do that? It's so hard. I answer your questions. I don't know if I would. So do I want to just hand them this storage company, or do I want them to find their own path? I genuinely don't know. Ultimately, I want what's best for them, but doesn't mean they can't learn from me. But then would they learn more going out on their own? I used to work for my dad. I didn't like it because I was always Rob Booty's son. And so I learned by going out on my own. And then when there was no safety net, that is when I knew that, holy shit, nobody's there to catch me. I need to make this work myself. And so that's when I got investors. I was gritty. I was determined. I got software for my other podcast, which made £70,000 a year, which was, sorry, not £70,000 in literally 7 or 8 days. We was only open. It was wonderful. That all went to not to pot, but I didn't build it properly. I had somebody in India building it, and it's fantastic. Still works for us today, but I should have got somebody else to check the work and stuff. It just anyway. That why do you listen to this podcast? Why do you listen? I'm talking about the betting guy. I'm talking about relationships with kids. I'm talking about what I'm going to do in 20 years. Right, back to shit. You can just imagine in my head. Or it's just literally my friends are going, duh, 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 duh. And all of a sudden I start talking about, I don't know, American politics. I don't know anything about American politics. So, you know what I mean? It's just like, what? Just get on with it. Right, okay, the quarter two. So we took £23,183. But I don't know if I'd shout out John McGlynn, by the way. He was the first person to tell me that the audio was bad. So appreciate that, John. I'm sure I did, but just if I didn't, really want to say that because I didn't know that the audio was rubbish for the last couple of episodes. So thank you very much, John. Really appreciate it. Anyway, back to the quarter. Right, quarter two, we took £23,183 more than we did the year before, more than quarter two 2021, which is fantastic. Right, but what did we do from quarter one 2022 to quarter two 2022? Well, in quarter one 2022, it was 211,569. So we increased by £7,064.14. So again, a really, really positive quarter in terms of revenue. In terms of revenue, it was fantastic. And that's what we should all base it upon, is the revenue. Ultimately, obviously, the biggest KPI is revenue, but you've got the supporting KPIs. I call them supporting KPIs, because without the supporting KPIs, then that revenue KPI is going to go down. And so the supporting KPIs was okay. They could have been better. As we know, June was a bad month. However, I do believe that July is going to be good. And so let's get on to the supporting KPIs then. So quotes. At StoreMore, we had 432 quotes. And for that, we had 161 reservations. So our conversion rate was 37%. Wonderful conversion rate. Hats off to the team. To give you some example, quarter two 2021, we had 780 quotes, I'll get to that in a minute, and 201 reservations, and a conversion rate of 25.77%. So we've increased our conversion rates by 12%. What has been the reason by this? Have we got better? Is there any better sales processes? Probably, marginally, but you would never expect it to be 12%. The reason being is because people make decisions based on three things: quality, price, and location, mainly in self-storage. I'm a big believer in that. And the biggest two for me are price and location. And the great thing now is that once you come to our website, which site do you want to go to? You put in your postcode and it tells you which is the closest one. So if you're managing the bucket, you've got a bucket for all the people who come in. First of all, it's location. So first one's location. Okay, whereabouts are you? We're in West Hull, right? So all the people in East Hull will filter through that bucket. You will never convert them people, or it's less likely to convert them people because they're at the other end of town. And so last year, we'd have lost all those people. So that is the big difference. Now, we don't lose them because they never go into the StoreMore Willoughby bucket, because we're West Hull, East Hull, we've got another site. So they'll go, instead of seeping out of that bucket there, they'll just go into Clough Road's East Hull site, and they'll go into that bucket there. So we'll never, ever lose them because of location. So that bucket has been sealed, which I love. And so now we're only going to lose them because of quality and price and availability. Availability, so quality and price. Our price is high, and so that's why we're not converting more. But still, 37% is wonderful. The quotes have gone down from 780 this quarter two to 432 for two reasons. This is why I love analysing figures. The two reasons are, number one, COVID last year, stamp duty, etc. Housing market was booming, bigger than it is now. So there's more action. But number two is, obviously, we've opened two sites in Hull. So everybody coming to the website before was just going to Willoughby. And now, depending on where you are in the city, you might either go to Willoughby or you might go to Clough Road. And so that is why the quotes have been nearly half, 40% off what there was last year. But it's okay, because we haven't lost them as such. They've just gone to another area. They've gone to Clough Road. Right, so fantastic. Over the moon with a conversion rate there, 132, brilliant stuff. New move-ins, we've had 132 new move-ins. Oh, by the way, just in terms of the reservations, we had in quarter one 2022, we had 172 reservations, and in quarter two, we've had 161. But we had more quotes in quarter one. Quarter one was a phenomenal quarter for some reason. Don't know why, still don't know why. It was a really good one. But our conversion rate has gone up from 33% in quarter one to 37% in quarter two. Move-ins, we had 132 move-ins. I think my wife is just telling me they've got to go. 132 move-ins in quarter two 2022, as opposed in quarter two 2021, we had 155. So we have had 23, public maths at its best. And that's right, yeah, 23 less move-ins. But again, I'm okay with that because it was crazy times last year. So let's have a look at some other things. So conversion rates for quotes to move-ins, it is 31% at StoreMore this quarter two 2022. Last year, it was 20%. So we've gone up by 11%. In quarter one, it was 29%. So we've gone up 2% again. So nearly the same. So good data, really good data. It's why I love it. I could look at this and read this all day. Square foot in was 13,095. Less than I want to be. For some reason, a lot of smaller rooms were taken in quarter two, this last quarter. Is it an anomaly, or is it normal? I think we're 10 square foot per moving down, somewhere like that. I haven't got the official figures yet. We're doing them next week for you, on the June monthly figures. So yeah, a little bit disappointing, because quarter two last year we took 16,665 square foot in. We moved that in. So it's just a little bit disappointing there. But again, that's because of COVID, obviously. Last quarter one, 2022, we took in 15,625 square foot. Incredible. So we're 2,500 square foot down from quarter one to quarter two. So it's interesting there. My wife's coming to me to see if we can go. I've got to take the kids to school. And so, yeah, it's just a little bit down. So the one concerning factor for me is the amount of square foot moved in this last quarter. It's a little bit below where we'd imagine. In quarter two, 2020, however, we only took 5,875 square foot. However, that was because COVID, there was a lockdown. That was the first lockdown, I do believe. In quarter two, 2019, we took 10,145. So if we look at that pre-COVID, we're still taking 30% more than we was pre-COVID. That's incredible. So it's still a positive figure if we look at it pre-COVID, a little bit negative if we look at it against last year and also quarter one. But it's wonderful to be able to look at these stats and analyze them. I love it. For me, this is storage porn. That's going to be the headline of this title, storage porn. So in quarter two, we gained a net position of 575 square foot. So we gained 575 square foot. Last year, we gained 4,890. Obviously, COVID, lockdowns. I don't know if it was in lockdowns at this point. Anyway, and also the stamp duty. We moved out 12,520 square foot this quarter. Last year, we moved out 11,775. So, by the way, our churn rate is still coming down, which is very, very good to see. In quarter one, 2022, we moved out 14,460. So yes, we took more square footage, but we moved out more as well, which ultimately meant in quarter one, 2022, we gained 1,165 square foot in quarter two. One other thing that I want to show you how good self-storage is. If we roll back the years to quarter two, 2020, we took 106,315. Yes, it was COVID, and so a lot of people moved out at that time before the big boom. In quarter two, 2019, we took 104,919. So we've more than doubled in 2 years, more than doubled our revenue in 2 years. This is what I mean by the snowball effect for self-storage. It is wonderful. Anyway, tomorrow I'm going to be talking about Beverly. Beverly data is not as good. So we're going to go through that tomorrow. All right, love you, appreciate you, and I'll see you